Welcome to WNL Sports Weekly. I'm Jeremy Franklin. This week we'll speak with women's track and field captain Leigh Dannhauser, women's tennis captain Christina and men's track and field coach Brandon Yule. But first, a quick look back at the weekend in Washington and Leigh athletics. Men's swimming competed in the NCAA Division III Championships in Shenandoah, Texas, finishing in 30th place. Women's tennis took part in the Fab 5 tournament in Atlanta, beating Tufts and falling to Sewanee and Amherst. Meanwhile, the men's team picked up ODAC wins over Shenandoah and Hampton-Sydney. Baseball swept a home ODAC doubleheader from Roanoke, beating the Maroons 10-4 and 8-2. Men's lacrosse knocked off Guilford 9-5, while women's lacrosse dropped an 11-9 decision to Catholic, and men's golf placed 23rd at the Marine Corps Intercollegiate Tournament. And at the WNL Carnival, the men's track and field team tied a school record in the 4x100 relay, while Janie Fugate broke her own school mark in the 400-meter hurdles. With me now is Leigh Dannhauser, junior track and field captain from Bronxville, New York. Leigh, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Overall, how did the WNL Carnival go for the team?
It went great. There were so many competitors. There were over 2,000 athletes from all three divisions, and it really brought out the best in us. We had PRs across the board, whether it be in the throws, the sprints, and the long distance. It was an incredible atmosphere, and even with the cold, we really shined.
WNL has a very large roster this year, including 15 first years. How do you view your role as captain, especially with so many young athletes on the team?
Just to keep the enthusiasm and the motivation up. You know, sometimes with so many events going on at one time, and even in practice, like we're all doing different things, and sometimes it's hard to keep track of everyone. But it's just really important to make sure that everyone's focused and everyone's ready to go, especially for those first years at their first meets. They're a little nervous. I mean, I definitely was really nervous, and it was the help of my upperclassmen teammates. So I don't think it's necessarily a captain's role, but I think of all the upperclassmen, just to help them through the nerves and, just like keep them excited. And, it definitely worked out for us at the indoor championships.
What factors went into your decision to attend WNL and to compete on the track and field team here?
It was definitely the balance of academics and athletics. When you're a student athlete at Washington and Leigh, you get the amazing education that every WNL student gets, but you also get some very competitive athletics that you probably will not be able to find that balance elsewhere. So you have coaches who are very understanding of your schedules and your time constraints in the classroom, but you also have professors who understand that you do have other time commitments. So especially with the carnival, my professors were very understanding when I was like, hey, listen, like the schedule got switched around. Can I please miss class? Like I'll come to office hours. And they're very understanding. They're like, just good luck, do the best you can. So it's a great balance that I don't think you'll be able to find elsewhere.
The ODAC Indoor Championship in February came down to the wire as WNL came in a very close second to Roanoke. How can that finish motivate the team during the outdoor season?
I think it's probably the best motivation we could ever have. We put out the best we could do. There were PRs literally across the board, but the same was true for all the other teams, and it was incredible. Like you had the high jump where there were no season, like the season best entering the meet was 5 feet. That wouldn't have placed at all at the conference meet. So just knowing that we did our best and that we can repeat that, but we're also adding events that we as a team are very good at. We're adding the steeplechase, we're adding the 400 hurdles, we're adding the javelin, and so we know that we have what it takes, and just adding those events and just execute, and we'll be able to do it and hopefully take out the victory.
Leigh, thanks for joining us. Best of luck the rest of the year.
Thank you.
I'm joined now by men's track and field coach Brandon Yule. Brandon, welcome back to the show.
Thanks for having me.
In addition to providing some great competition for your team, how does hosting a huge event like the WNL Carnival benefit the track and field program?
Well, it gets the kids excited. It gets them excited for having a home event, which we rarely have. We have once a year, and we're hosting the ODAC championships as well this year. And also it brings a lot of people on campus, which some of these guys that are competing from other teams could have siblings, and they might see the campus if they're here with their family, and they might spark an interest in wanting to attend WNL in the future, and that's always good as far as recruiting, because anytime we can get exposure to our campus, to our track and field program, it bodes well for not only the current students, but also for possible future prospects as well.
W&L endured several tough injuries during the indoor season. You came in 5th at the ODAC championship meet. How pleased were you with the way your team was able to battle through that kind of adversity?
I tell you, I couldn't be more proud of the way the guys that we had competing. I told them the night before, I said, listen, there's always something to compete for. Each one of you in here that is competing, to go out there and whether it be achieve a personal best, but at the end of the night, we want to know that each and every one of you put your best in line. And we came out of there with a lot of personal bests or season bests. And, we were 5th, which, on the paper may not seem like it's great, but all things considered, I was very pleased. And, hopefully it bodes well going into the outdoor season too, and kind of gets us excited to getting everybody back and healthy.
John Tucker recently retired as men's cross-country coach. He was also an assistant with track and field, and he coached the women's team for 14 years. What did John's service mean to W&L, to the track and field program?
Well, John, having been an alum from W&L, he really understood the W&L way, and you can tell he had a real passion. He changed a lot of the kids' lives. So you see a lot of those kids coming back, and still have good positive relationships with them. And he was dedicated to his craft, so to speak, and really put W&L cross country on the map. I can't really speak for the track and field aspect of it from years past when he was the women's head coach, but in my time here with him, he did a good job for our distance program and really helped me in my time here.
Getting back to the outdoor season, what kind of expectations do you have for the ODAC championship meet in April?
Well, it's the same as always. Just a matter of going out there and everybody, putting their best on the line. We know that from a depth standpoint, we may not have as much as other teams, but we know we have some top-end talent, and for the most part, we should be healthy. And the expectation is just to go out there and battle, and cliches, but do your best and compete. We'll be at home, which will be exciting, which should bring an extra bit of energy for us. And hopefully, when it's all said and done, we'll be improve on our indoor placing and maybe make a shot for a title.
Brandon, thanks for joining us. Best of luck the rest of the year.
Thanks for having me, Jeremy.
With me now is Christina Douglas, senior tennis captain from Fayetteville, New York. Christina, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
W&L is 11-4 on the year, an 8-0 mark in the ODAC so far. Overall, how has the season gone for Washington and Leigh?
Yeah, we've had a really solid spring season so far. We had a great win at Indoor Nationals against Skidmore and a good win against Tufts this past weekend at the Fab 5 tournament in Atlanta. That's also been coupled with a few tough losses to Trinity at indoors, and we had a tough one against Sewanee this past weekend. But overall, I think we've taken a lot away from those losses. We always come away with new goals, new things to improve on, and that really makes us pumped up to win the next match. And I've been really impressed with the overall progression throughout the season and looking forward to seeing even more improvement throughout.
Erin Ness is in her first year as head coach. How have you and your co-captain, Sally Griffin, been able to help smooth that transition?
Yeah, luckily Sally and I haven't had to do too much. It was a really smooth transition with Erin coming in the fall. She's so easygoing and easy to get along with, and she's really receptive to all of us, which has proved extremely helpful throughout the season. And even though she came all the way from California, it's been a really quick transition, and she came in with a lot of really good suggestions for the team, which made us all really excited to have her.
You were talking earlier about some of the tough competition. You've got Carnegie Mellon this weekend, some more difficult matches after winter term exams. What do those opponents, what do they do to help W&L?
Yeah, we take away so much from every tough match, especially those really tough non-conference matches. And like I said, with every match that we face, we are exposed to different game styles, which really forces variety into our games and makes us develop tactics as to how to beat these tough opponents, which really differ between schools.
What are the team's goals for the postseason?
Yeah, well, our ultimate goal is, of course, to win the national championship, but in order to do so, we have to win the ODAC championship as well as regionals. So those are the two goals more on our mind at this point.
Christina, thanks for joining us. Best of luck the rest of the way.
Thank you for having me.
It's time now for a look at the upcoming weekend. Both tennis teams will host nationally ranked Carnegie Mellon on Saturday. The men's match starts at 10, followed by the women's contest at 12:30. Women's lacrosse visits Lynchburg for an ODAC game on Saturday morning, while the track and field teams go to Christopher Newport for the Commonwealth duels. Baseball travels to Emory and Henry for a conference doubleheader, and men's lacrosse heads to Virginia Wesleyan. There's more tennis on Sunday as the women play at Guilford and the men meet North Carolina Wesleyan at home. For WNL Sports Weekly, I'm Jeremy Franklin. Thanks for watching.